Good morning, good people. Today is Monday, July 8th, 2024. Here we are in wonderful Pahrump or Pahrump, It's just about 6 a.m. in the morning. I think it's almost 80 degrees outside already. It's going to be 106 today. Cool, good, that's great. Here we are at Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help our students and interested people on their journey through this life. This one-shot journey through this life, which is preparation for what comes hereafter. We have taken and advocate the belief that we have a transcendent soul, that this is not all there is. This is not it. The suffering and the problems of earth, etc., this is not it. There is something after that, and best to be prepared, best prepared as possible. If you get prepared, you don't have to, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Good morning, buenos dias, what a bevy from Florida. What's happening out there for you as I'm giving this introduction? So once again, our goal is to help people on their journey through this life, which is not the end. We've taken a leap of faith that we have a transcendent soul, and best to be prepared, best prepared for that. Best to be best prepared. How about that? Cool. How do we do it? Well, the main way we do it is through the worksheet, which is down below, attached down below, Facebook, LinkedIn, our website, Love Thy Neighbor, nv.com, and let's see, it's on Signal, a lot of places. You won't have any trouble finding it. If you go to the link down below, while you're there, please click on please subscribe, share, click on the bell, you know the thing, thumbs up, all of that. So the worksheet is the number one way we help people through life. The second way, more pragmatic, practical way, is the podcast. Not the quality of the podcast, just the fact that you are here, that you are incorporating into a daily routine. Repetition, creating better habits. So what is the habit? Habit is unconscious behavior. Here's a thought. The better, the more productive your unconscious behavior, the better it is for you. Right. What do we have from Johnny? Yeah. Good morning, Matt. The fecal marshal has arrived. Psh, salute you already. This is how we do it. Yes, so repetition. That is the key. So Wada Bevy has this thing, if she'll sign on, I think it's a quick, I'm just going to sign on. Hi, everybody. And then move forward for her routine in Florida, which is okay, because what is she doing? Repetition. So one way to look at it would be she has a routine, a practice. Oh, she is there. I'm going to pretend she's not. She has a practice of every day getting on the podcast every day. And Maticus Von Atticus is doing the same thing. Get on the podcast every day. Repetition. So you need to listen to the whole thing. Not necessarily. It's part of repetition. So if it's like, well, I can't listen to it live right now because I have all of these other things I need to do, but I can loop back later, but I'm going to incorporate the routine still. Boom. Success. There's no video buffer sometimes. Go back and out. Sync. There's no Wi-Fi. That must be here. There's no Wi-Fi. UWRE. No Wi-Fi here. Aha. No brains. Well, my hunch would be, here's the question. If you go on your phone and you look at Wi-Fi, is there Wi-Fi from people around you? from the neighbors? Do you get any Wi-Fi at all? If you do, is the amount of marginal Wi-Fi enough to trigger, it's going to be yuck. Oh no, it sucks. Anyway, here we are, 5 minutes in, just about 5 minutes in, and we haven't gotten to our theme, our meme of today. The meme theme is, what's the incentive? That's what we're going to be talking about today. What's the incentive? And figure out how it fits into our neuroscience-oriented approach to success. Speaking of which, this is day 1 of week 4 in our neuroscience-oriented success program, our 4-week program. This is day 1, week 4, Crisis Leadership Nancy Kane, featuring Abraham Lincoln and Ernest Shackleton, the crisis leadership they exhibited. So in our 4-week course, this is the last week. This is the 4th week of our course. And we start out with overview and orientation. What is the point? What is the purpose? Very simply, to answer 2 questions. Who am I, and why I behave the way I do? If I know the answer to those 2 questions, then I have the ability to dial in who I need to be right now. And then 5 minutes later. That's it. That's the whole purpose of our neuroscience-oriented approach to success. Who am I, and why do I behave as I do? And if I can answer those 2 questions, I can really start moving down the path to success in this life. Okay? Week 2, inside my skull-sized kingdom. So how does it work? How can I answer the question, who am I, and why do I behave the way I do, if I don't know how my brain works? So we focus on neurons, neurotransmitters, reticular activating system, 3 components of the brain. There's a lot more other components, but we focus on those 3 as the launch point. We see that my orientation is everything revolves around me. Move to week 3. Week 3, it's called outside my skull-sized kingdom, and then I observe other people who also think the world revolves around them, but I know that I need to get their help on my journey. I can't do it alone. And week 4 is leadership. How do I get the people to do what I want them to do? Or another way to look at it is the metaphor of the boat, where it would be like this. Week 1, life is a journey. And to be on this journey, I have to prepare for the journey. I want the best journey possible. Week 2, I have to build the boat. I have to build the boat that's going to take me on my journey. And I want it to be as big as it can possibly, productively, effectively be. I don't want a small little raft. I don't want a rowboat. I don't want a little, I don't want a little boat. I want the biggest boat I can manage, the biggest boat I can captain. And I will need a crew. Now I need to get a crew for that boat because I can't handle this boat by myself. And then week number 4 is now I need to not crash the boat. Okay, so we're 8 minutes and 25 seconds in. That's the introduction and orientation of what we are doing here. This is week 4. We're in the don't crash the boat phase of our course. In the meantime, we have our daily podcast where we focus on little themes that augment, supplement our program. And today's theme is, what is it again? What's the incentive? What's the incentive? So in red letter down below, we have Darren Hardy, great little 7-minute chat about incentives, how people are motivated by incentives. And I'm going to do a segue to that to Seth Godin. His blog today, Seth's blog, is called Kazoo Lessons. And this fits into that concept of our theme today of what's the incentive. The very last line, I think Seth pulls it together. Kazoo lessons. Knowledge and technique used to be closely guarded secrets. Admission to the guild was reserved for a few, and crafts like typesetting, plumbing, and medicine were off limits to most folks. One of the reasons for the explosion in productivity and innovation in the last century is that more tools and leverage are available to more people than ever before. Right. So more people can practice typesetting, plumbing, and medicine. And thus, more people innovate. But along the way, we begin to prize tools that were convenient, easy to engage with, and flat. Flat in that more experience didn't always lead to better results. Okay, the learning curve is flat. You learn it, boom. 5 minutes with the kazoo sounds a lot like 5 hours with one. We can find more upside when we choose to lean into something worth leaning into. So this could be having a lot of knowledge about a subject that people don't really care about, versus having a lot of knowledge about subjects people do. Just because it feels easy at first doesn't mean that it's a worthwhile career path. Right. Okay, so don't just follow something because it feels easy at first. You might master it, you master the domain early, and then you have this long, flat tail versus something that continues to go up, 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 and everyone else who's not learning it is fixed way down here. Okay, cool. So what's the incentive? Darren Hardy says, incentive is the key. Get the incentive right, the behavior will follow. So in our neuroscience-oriented approach to success, we have you have beliefs, you have a stimulus, the response is the release of neurotransmitters that make you feel a certain way. The feelings affect our performance, and the performance affects the outcome. So if we work our way back, we say, well, what's the outcome I want? What's the behavior I need? What is the, how do I need to feel to get that behavior? And what is the fundamental belief I need to have? So Darren Hardy is injecting in there, in that belief and in that stimulus, the incentive. Because you have to believe the incentive has value, right? What's valuable to you might not be valuable to me. You might like a shiny apple. I don't like apples, not an incentive. So you've got to get the incentive right. If you get the incentive right, what's going to happen in your brain is it's going to release the neurotransmitters needed to get you to feel the way you need to feel in order to behave the way you need to behave in order to get the outcome you want. So that's a lot packed into that. Probably need to ruminate, cogitate, think about that for a little while, go back, watch the videos. But the key, simple, easy thing would be to ask, what's the incentive? If I want somebody to do what I want them to do, is the incentive positive motivation or is it fear-based? And Machiavelli told us that it's fear is a better motivator than love because it's harder to fall out of fear than love, or it's easier to fall out of love. But the problem with using fear as a motivator is it's not really leverageable. It's difficult to leverage that. And the second you take away the fear, the gun at the head, the second you take that away, you might have problems. So we should create positive incentives for people to do things, not negative ones. And And those can be just really simple rewards, kind of like slot machine thing. People will play for hours and hours and hours, giving up hundreds and hundreds of dollars because of chasing the dream that I'm going to hit it big. Wow, this is great. But really, it's non-conscious behavior. It's a non-conscious, it's a habit. And it's for the dopamine drip, drip, drip. Because when they win, they feel good. Go to the casino. I can promise you there's more people in the casinos than in churches. Maybe it's because the incentive isn't right. Hint, hint, Darren Hardy, get the incentive right. What's the incentive to go to church in the morning and listen to a boring talk? Not much. As Matticus von Atticus would say, that sucks. Okay, so here we are. We're at the end of another thing, 15 minutes in. Got to get ready for the peloton. And I want to say appreciation to everybody. The incentive to be here is to have a better journey through life, to help create better habits. That's the incentive. A little bit of discipline. Don't need to do it live. Most people don't do it live. Well, now it appears only a couple people or a few people are doing it live. But the purpose is not because of the podcast itself. It's the repetition, creating better habits. And your incentive is to have the best life possible, best prepared for what comes next. And the way to do that is to have good habits. Here's a simple way to develop better habits. All right. Create a routine, repetition, till it becomes a habit, till when you don't do it, you don't feel good. And with that, we're going to say end stream. And